What time do you have breakfast? From Monday to Friday, I
What time do you have breakfast from Monday to Friday?
have breakfast at 7 a.m. and on Saturdays and Sundays, I have breakfast at 10 o'clock.
I have breakfast at 7 a.m. and on Saturdays and Sundays. I have breakfast at 10 o'clock.
What do you usually have for breakfast?
What do you usually have for breakfast?
It depends on the day.
It depends on the day.
Sometimes I have cereals and milk.
Sometimes I have cereals and milk.
Other times I have jam on toast.
Other times I have jam on toast.
And if I have a lot of time, like at the weekend, I have avocado on toast with some orange juice.
Uh, if I have a lot of time, like on the weekend, I have avocado on toast with some orange juice.
Do you often have a big breakfast?
Do you often have this breakfast?
Ở trên Instagram là gì bạn hỏi cách để được điểm IELTS cao hơn nên mình xin giới thiệu các bạn prep.
Some Sunday mornings I go
Some Sunday mornings
to a restaurant or a cafe with my parents to have a full English breakfast.
I go to a restaurant or a cafe with my parents to have a full English breakfast.
This is the typical breakfast in England, but people only have it at the weekend and not at 7 a.m.
This is the typical breakfast in England, but people only have it on the weekend and not at 7 a.m.
They normally have it at 10 or 11 a.m.
They normally have it at 10 or 11 a.m.
A full English breakfast has bacon, sausages, toast, fried mushrooms, fried tomatoes, baked beans,
A full, a full English breakfast includes bacon, sausage, toast, fried mushrooms, fried potatoes,
which are beans in tomato sauce,
with toppings in tomato sauce,
fried egg, and black pudding.
fried egg, and black pudding.
I hate black pudding, but I love the rest.
I hate black pudding, but I love the rest.
I think that a full English breakfast on a Sunday morning is the best thing in the world.
I think that a full of English breakfast on a Sunday morning is the best thing in the world.
A Sunday morning. What time do you have lunch?
What time do you have lunch?
I normally have lunch at 12 or 1 o'clock.
I normally have lunch at 12 on 1 o'clock.
In England, people usually have a sandwich with a packet of crisps or maybe a small salad.
In England, people usually have a sandwich with, with a packet of crisps or maybe a small salad.
But it's usually very small because the main meal of the day is dinner, which is later.
But it's usually very small because the main meal of the day is dinner, which is later.
You normally have lunch at work or at school.
You normally have lunch at work or at school.
So it's something that you can eat very quickly.
So it's something that you can eat very quickly.
What do you have for lunch?
What do you have for lunch?
I normally have a sandwich and a piece of fruit like an apple or a banana.
I normally have a sandwich and a piece of fruit like an apple or a banana.
What time do you have dinner?
What time do you have dinner?
I have dinner at about 6 o'clock.
I have dinner at about 6 o'clock. I had dinner at about 6 o'clock.
I have it after work.
I have it after work.
Some people have it at 5 o'clock.
Some people have it at 5 o'clock.
People at 6 and some people at 7.
Some people at 6 and some people at 7.
It depends on the time you finish work or school.
It depends on the time you finish work or school.
In England, dinner is the biggest meal of the day and
In England, dinner is the biggest meal of the day.
people usually have a lasagna.
And people usually have a lasagna,
A pasta dish, some meat and vegetables, fish and vegetables, things like that.
a pasta dish, some meat and vegetables, fish and vegetables, things like that.
It is true that in England we eat a lot of potatoes.
It is true that in England we eat a lot of potatoes.
So you normally have some fish, potatoes, and then peas, carrots, broccoli.
So you normally have some fish, potatoes, and then peas, carrots, and broccoli.
Potatoes and then peas, carrots, broccoli. These are the typical vegetables that we have in England.
They are the typical vegetables that we have in England.
Mình đã 5 lần đạt chứng from IELTS. Nhưng phần lớn thời gian mình lại không dành để luyện đề IELTS.
It also depends if you are good at cooking or not.
It also depends if you are good at cooking or not.
I know that some people are very good at cooking and they have lots
I know that some people are really good at cooking
of different meals every day,
and they a lot of different meals every day.
but others go to the supermarket and they buy ready meals.
But others go to the supermarket and they buy ready meals.
Ready meals are meals that are ready for you to eat.
Ready meals are ready meals are meals that are ready for you to eat.
You put them in the microwave or in the oven for 10 minutes
You put them in the microwave or the oven for 10 minutes
and they are ready to eat.
and they are ready to eat.
It's not a healthy option, but a lot of people use them and
It's not a healthy option, but a lot of people use them
buy them because
and buy them
they don't have a lot of time.
because they don't have a lot of time.
Do you ever make dinner for your family?
Do you ever make dinner for your family?
No, I don't normally make dinner for my family.
No, I don't normally make dinner for my family.
My dad is a chef, so he is the person who normally cooks.
My dad is a chef. My dad is a chef, so he is the person who normally cooks.
When we celebrate Christmas or a birthday, so I never make dinner for my family.
When we celebrate Christmas or a birthday, he's, he's the one in charge of the cooking. So I never make dinner for my family.
What is elevenses?
What is allowances?
Elevenses is a small meal that people have at about 11 o'clock in the morning.
Allowances is a small meal that people have had about 11 o'clock in the morning.
That's why it's called elevenses, because it's at 11 o'clock.
That's why it's called allowances because it's at 11 o'clock.
For example, if you had breakfast at 7 in the morning and you have lunch at 1 o'clock,
If you have had breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning and you have lunch at 1 o'clock,
then you might get hungry at 11 o'clock.
then you might get hungry at 11 o'clock.
So you might have a cup of tea or coffee with some biscuits, cakes, or snacks.
So we might have a cup of tea or coffee with some pickles, cakes, or snacks.
It is basically the meal or snack that you have between breakfast and lunch.
It It is basically the meal or snack that you have between breakfast and lunch.
I know that people normally think that in England
I know that people normally think that in England
we have afternoon tea with a lot of cakes and biscuits and cups of tea.
we have afternoon tea with a lot of cakes and pickles and a cup of tea,
But that doesn't really happen.
but that doesn't really happen.
It is true that English people drink lots of cups of tea.
It is true that English people drink a lot of cups of tea.
For example, in my family, we have a cup of tea every hour or every 2 hours.
For example, in family, we have a cup of tea every hour or every 2 hours,
But we don't have cake and biscuits and a cup of tea like the Queen every afternoon.
but we don't have cake and pickles and a cup of tea like the Queen every afternoon.
Because normally we are all at work.
Because normally we are all at work.
Some cafes sell afternoon tea, but it's very expensive
Some cafes sell afternoon tea, but it's very expensive.
and it's for events like your birthday or you go out with your mom on a special day or with your friend.
Some coffee uh, and it's for events like your birthday or when you go out with your mom on a special day or with your friend.
It's not something that you do every day.
It's not something that you do every day.
If you visit somebody's house in England,
If you visit somebody's house in England,
they normally give you a cup of tea with some biscuits and some cakes.
they normally give you a cup of tea with some biscuits and some cakes.
It is quite typical.
It is quite typical.
They don't normally offer some juice or some water like they do in other countries.
They don't normally offer juice or water like they do in other countries.
Because it is cold in England,
Because it is cold in England. Because it is because it is cold in England.
because it is cold in England, they usually offer a cup of tea or coffee for the people that don't like tea.
They usually offer a cup of tea or coffee for people that don't like tea.
They will also ask you if you like to have sugar in your tea.
They will also ask you if you like to have sugar in your tea.
Some people don't have sugar and others have 1 or 2 teaspoons of sugar.
Some people don't have sugar and others have 1 or 2 teaspoons of sugar.